Welcome to Group 1 for Sociology 217. There are many factors that can impact a person to be more prone to committing crime. Some determinants of human behavior are behavior factors, environmental factors, and cognitive factors. Some important factors we focus on today are green spaces, labeling others, learning from your social encounters, and social stressors. Your environment takes a huge toll in your actions and you may take. Green surrounding and air pollution can affect your criminal activity. Benefits of greenery take an impact on environment, economic, psychological, and social factors. Some benefits for each are decrease in depression, insulation against noise or radiation, reduction of energy costs, and more opportunities for work and personal enjoyment. Tim Nalrod, a professor in Belgium, says there is more and more evidence that green surroundings are associated with our cognitive functions such as memory skills and attention. And environment editor Damien Carrington conducted a study analyzing more than 600 children between the ages of 10 to 15. The study showed a 3% increase in the greenness of their neighborhood, raising their IQ score by an average of 2.6 points. An article by Thomas E. Rall called Air Pollution Linking Systemic and Central Nervous System Impacts. This diagram is representing experimental evidence that with differing characteristics and reactivity, two common pollutants, matter and ozone, can activate in your body and release stress hormones as part of a neuroendocrine stress response. The brain is highly sensitive to stress, which affects cognition and mental health, which produce biochemical and structural changes in the brain. The brain is highly sensitive to stress, which affects cognition and mental health, which produce biochemical and structural changes in the brain. Ozone is consumed within the lungs. This is where you can see how greenery in your environment can impact one to engage in certain activities. Research in 2017 from Yunnan, a preventive medicine research associated at the Kent School of Medicine. They did a study on how an increase of air pollution links to aggressive behavior in teens due to tiny toxic particles that enter into your body. This study shows the exposure affecting your lungs, heart, and causes inflammation of the brain. Parents noted if their child engaged in 13 rule-breaking behaviors, including lying, cheating, stealing, or vandalism, that these are something that they would take note of. So researchers found about 75% of the participants breathed ambient air pollution that exceeded the federal recommended levels. Environmental scientists believe that elevated air pollution levels could increase criminal activities in communities. Social interaction are also factors of criminal activity. Social interaction means that everyday situations can impact your decisions. This is a connection to labeling theory and social learning. Labeling theory stems from symbolic interactionism, which is when people use symbols to establish meaning, develop views about the world, and communicate with others. Labeling theory focuses on the formal or informal acts of placing labels on individuals by society. If someone is described as a criminal, they will be treated as a criminal by others and will accept their label. As a result, they will start to behave like a criminal. Another label would be psycho, addict, delinquent, nerd, or jock. Social learning theory is the process of learning from your social environment, from like peers, schools, leisure, or work groups. Social learning is one of the most tested theories across criminology. Criminality is linked to association with a greater number of peers. Sutherland suggests that people will become criminals if they associate with too many criminals. This is because they're exposed to pro-criminal beliefs and that might exceed their anti-criminal definitions. They also note that if you link criminal or criminality activities to punishment, then it will deter an individual from engaging in those activities. Social structures indirectly influence our social learning, which in turn influences our individual actions and may lead us to either conforming or criminal behavior. Acker's theory is that people learn deviant behavior by observing and learning from the social factors in their daily life, such as age, ethnicity, class, gender, or where they live. The principal parts of learning criminal behavior occurs in groups like the people you hang out with, known as differential association. A type of social structure is the strain theory. The strain theory states that certain strains or stressors increase the likelihood of crime. These lead to negative emotions such as frustration and anger. These emotions create pressure for the want of corrective action now. This can lead to crime being a possible response. An example of applying the strain theory to society can be the crime epidemic in Chicago over the past decade and more recently in 2020. A major strain in the Chicago communities can pressure or be an incentive for someone to engage in criminal activity. This activity can be one's way of coping. We are hearing a lot about rioting, and this can be due to not enough reconciliation attempts from law enforcement and officials. This may have one feeling the need to take matters into their own hands and respond to these problems the way they see fit in their own eyes. People may resort to criminal activity or even resolve the issue of someone treating them in an unjust manner. In conclusion, these are different aspects in our life that can be factors that influence our choices, whether we decide to engage in criminal activity or not. Lastly, we just want to say happy birthday, Professor Rogers, from Group 1 to you. Thank you. Welcome.